Oh, yay. Welcome, everyone. We're live. Uh, I'm in a new location today. I decided that I wanted to make an outdoor office on our front porch. So here I am. Back behind the computer screen is my orchard. I just felt like I needed to spend some time outside. So we'll see how well this works for me. The morning sun comes right up, and I'm sort of at an angle, so it's not right on me. Uh, but it's pretty warm out here. You can probably tell. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I know a lot of you will probably be joining me or joining this video later in the day or later in the week or maybe even later in the decade. Who knows? But I want to welcome all of you who are here now and those of you who are here later on the on the time space continuum. So today last night actually, it finally congealed. I was waiting for a topic to congeal. As a lot of you know, I'm working with this rhythm right now of coming on Monday mornings and doing a live. And I thought I was going to continue our discussion about relationships today, but I think I'm going to wait on that. I might do another live for the topic that I had intended. But yesterday, after several days of energy work, clearing, I'll give you a little bit of that backstory. I finally this topic came clear about energy work for a healthy ego. And I've had some real interesting insights or images, I guess, about where the ego energy resides and how it plays into, for those of you who are in your human design experiment, how it plays into the conditioning in the not self, how you experience those open areas when you are responding, those open areas in your human design chart where you are responding or reacting to condition. There we are. I was talking about conditioning. Either you're responding to the outside energy that you're taking in the moment from someone else's design or from the transits, or you're being triggered with past conditioning. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you. I'd love to hear from you guys if you want to chat in the comments. That's what these live streams are about. So let me give you a little bit of backstory about what I want to take you through today, because this is really going to be an energetic exercise. I really want your feedback on it. I am doing some work with another projector who is a master at body work, at uh, energetic mechanics. That's the word that's coming up. He's just a master at the body and has approached the embodiment of his own design from various different aspects of his own vast, deep knowledge of how the body works and how the energy of the body runs. So he's working with some embodiment techniques that we're sort of playing with. And he's also looking for clients and participants who want to try it out too. So hi, Bings. So if that's something that you're interested in, contact me directly and I'll put you in contact with him. But anyway, he's given me some movements to do to get in touch with my defined centers and to kind of bring up that not self aspect. So along with that, these pressurized days that we're in on the planet, I recognize and I recommend to all of you to get some energy work. And actually, Bings is a great energy worker, so I'm glad you hopped on, Bings. Um, if you're not getting your own energy work or your own body work, this is a time to do it. So Splenic Me um, responded to someone that I follow on YouTube. His name is Andrew Martin. I will put his link down here if you want to check him out. He's got something going on called sphere healing, and I wanted to try it out to see what it was about. And man, he's got this powerful energy. He can hold energy at a very, very high level, and he's able to track it. So he found some blockages that we released through this work. And then over the course of a couple of days, there was follow-on release. Like, I was having dreams that for me, I felt were directly related to that. And I was able to release that. And then from there came some real insights about the subtleties of ego energy. And this is something that I really, I wrote down a few things. I recorded some things, and a lot of it is abstract, so just bear with me. But I really got a sense of how the ego gets out of balance and how that plays into us being out of balance, us not being able to, in being's terms, to return to gentleness and to be gentle with ourselves, of us being able to return to the experience of our definition in our designs without being reactive to or compelled to live from those energies that are not consistent within us. So yeah, and Bings, I will put your link down there too. Bings is an amazing energy healer too. She really can help you unwind, and her energy is so gentle. And if you haven't seen the video we did with her, go back and watch that. We did that last Monday, and you can get a real good sense for the gentleness in her being. So let me just go into this and talk a little bit about what came up. Let's talk about, first of all, ego strength, because a lot of times we look at ego as being this bad thing, this thing that wants to maintain control and maybe control other people, and and it's something that a lot of us who are on our own path of growth and evolution don't want to own because it's so bad. But really, we need our egos to function within within this physical human life experience that we're having. So therefore, it must serve a purpose other than to like control us and be the chokehold and be the one that wants to have power over things, and however popular culture portrays the ego, right? It's the out of balance ego, or the extreme of the outer balance. The extreme of an ego that is out of balance could be interpreted as what the psychologists call narcissism. And we all kind of, a lot of us are seeing that. We may be seeing it in our leaders. We may be seeing it in people around us. We may be seeing it in our partners, our friends, maybe people that aren't our friends anymore. But it's right out there as this extreme kind of misalignment, I guess. But what we're really meant to have is an ego, what I call ego strength, which is that you're in that place of the balanced ego, and you have this ego strength because you feel confident, you feel present, you feel perhaps maybe you do feel fearful in certain circumstances, but you're able to be with it without reacting to it. One of the things that the out of balance ego does is it kind of, your psyche kind of plays on your fears in that respect, and then you go unconscious. So in the human design chart, we have an ego center, and this is a little bit different from the specific ego center in the chart. And maybe some of you who are studying human design or studying your own design may have some insights about how the ego center relates to this. I'm actually going to have a conversation with this projector that I mentioned earlier in this video later today about that. He's had some insights as well from what I shared with him. But just think of the ego in this case as that ego that is your backbone. Like, when you're really standing, and maybe if you're in a place where you can stand or you can sit up straight, you'll get this feeling. And try that if you can. Just stand or sit really straight and focus upon the balance in your backbone. When you're really living in a place on those mental and emotional levels, and you think of the ego as being this energy that is running through your backbone, you can feel that translated into your physical body as this sense of balance, a sense of groundedness, and a sense that you don't need to push forward. You don't need to lean back as a victim. You're just there, ready to move when it is time to move, ready to take action when it is time to take action, with nothing to prove, with nothing to necessarily do in that moment, except to be in that place of where you're supported by your physical, mental, emotional, ethereal, for lack of a concrete description, bodies. so so I wrote some things down here that I want to just kind of read, because this is what came live as this was coming to me. The ego gets unbalanced and moves from its function as a strengthener that provides flexible strength into the control mechanisms that are experienced as the not self. So let me back up here. When you're in that unbalanced state of ego, you're in that place of feeling powerlessness, feeling like you have to maybe have power over something or someone, trying to prove yourself, being defensive. The other thing that I wrote here is that the energy of ego strength resides in the backbone, as I was talking about. And I invite you to continue to feel that if you're in a place where you can stand or sit up straight, to just kind of feel this as we're talking about it. It resides in the backbone of the ethereal bodies to fortify and create resilience within the proverbial spinal column. So when I'm talking about like what I was shown in my own abstract imagery, is like we have these physical spinal columns, but in our other bodies, in our other layers of our aura. And this is not necessarily, we're not necessarily here talking about human design aura. We're talking about like the mental body, the astral body, the emotional body, those layers. There is, there's this sense of this backbone as well, this energetic backbone. And each of them probably contributes to the data and information that our nervous system functions from, because our nervous system is an extension of, all of our nerves are an extension of what runs from our brain through our spinal cord, or into our spinal cord, and then out from our spinal column. So we are physically innervated. And we are also emotionally innervated, mentally innervated. And when we bring in this understanding that we have energy centers, and in the system of human design, we have 9 of them. And some of them are undefined, where we're taking in, where we have the potential to be super flexible in the way that we experience that energy. But then it becomes very, very a place where insecurities can kind of build up. That's another way to understand conditioning. And Bings has a has some great explanations about that. That's what her work is about, is helping um, empaths and introverts really understand where they get out of alignment with gentleness. Sorry about that. I didn't bring anything out here to drink and it's getting really hot. So, I hope you can take that in and understand that your ego strength is really a gift for you when you can be in this place where you feel resilient, and the backbone, the spine is such a great palpable understand a way of palpably understanding that, being in your balance, in your center, in your power, um, balanced in the way that you're innervated, without feeling this need to push forward, to do anything about even things that may be triggering you, right? This is what I'm getting at in terms of ego strength. Now, the other thing that I was shown, and this is probably just very, very abstract for my own mental entertainment, but I'm going to share it because it may have something, there may be something in it for you. I was shown the imagery of how, here's this energy of our ego strength, right? Running through our spinal cord, running through the various proverbial spinal cords or columns of our various energy bodies. And when we get under those conditioning influences, whether they're past conditioning, future, past conditioning, conditioning in the moment from outside immediate sources, there can, our conditioned behavior patterns are formed by what I saw was like the energy of our ego strength leaving our spine, and sort of, it would look like tentacles of energy that sort of meander into our openness, into our open centers, into our defined centers as well, into the way that we use energy as human beings, use our personal energy as human beings. So, the exercise that I really want to take you through is just to give you a sense of that. Like, if you've been feeling your spinal column for right now, and you're feeling that place of balance where you neither are tipping forward or tipping back, or, feeling like you need to move anywhere, but there's this sense of, you can feel this sense of resilience. I want to just kind of just bring you into this imagery and help you to expand upon that in a sensory kind of way. And Mike, I really appreciate what your input there. The gate of power, the gate of power on your back, 1 inch below the belly button. Give that some acupressure. So 1 inch below the belly button on your back. So are you saying to do pressure on the back, at that level that's 1 inch below the belly button, or on the abdomen, or maybe both? Like I right now I have one finger 1 inch below the abdomen, or 1 inch below the belly button in the front, and 1 inch below the belly button in the back. And thank you for that, Mike, because this is a really great place to start with this. So I just want to encourage you all, as you're finding your balance in your spinal cord, to maybe, if it's uncomfortable to do this front and back, maybe just put a hand on your back and a hand just below your belly button. Or if that's uncomfortable, put a hand in the front, or both hands in the front, or both hands in the back, just to kind of feel where that center is. It's in that area of the dantian as well, where it's kind of like a power center in qigong, where you're finding that center of gravity. And as you do that, you can still continue to feel the subtle ways that your spine wants to move. Okay, on the back. Thank you, Mike. So let's try that on the back. And that feels really good. The heat feels really good. And you also have from this place, if you have your hands on your back, you have a real good sense of, you can get a good sense of how your spinal column sort of rides between the two iliums, which are those hip bones on the side. You'll feel that. And you may even be able to feel those micro movements of flexibility. So just tune into that. Now, here on the East Coast, it's fairly early in the day. You may be somewhere else in the world where you've had a whole day of experience and interaction. So from here, if you're feeling tune into your entire body and even beyond. If you want to stretch your imagination and your attunement to yourself beyond into your aura, into your energy body, feel where you may have places that feel constricted, or I remember that imagery of how that energy from your backbone, that ego strength, kind of pushes its way out and can have a stranglehold or a stronghold on certain aspects of your energy field. You know, this may come to you in images, it may come to you in feeling. You may not even feel a thing, but just intend to make contact with those places where you may have lost that energy strength, that strength where you've diluted your power because it's gone out from the center of you into your not self spaces, into reaction, into all of that. And remember to breathe. And as you breathe, on your exhales, use the exhale as release and surrender, as though you are encouraging those tentacles of unbalanced ego energy to just gently release, relax, open up, and come back home into your proverbial spinal column. And for those of you who know a little bit about your chart, maybe a little bit about your conditioning, you can kind of work with that imagery if you want. If you don't know about your chart and you're more attuned to the Hindu chakra system, you can work with that imagery. It's really the intention. The imagery is setting the intention for just releasing and pulling back that energy to your backbone, where it can continue to fortify you so that you have resilience in your life, so that you have more resilience in your sense of being, and you have a sense of your own ego strength, the balance of your strength as a being. All right. All right. So I want to encourage you to practice that and maybe add to it. Mike, it sounds like you've got some great insights into some ways that you can take that and modify it. I just, at this point on a Monday morning, wanted to give you an experience of what it feels like to pull back, to no longer, in a certain sense, leak out this energy that's meant to fortify you, um, and meant to establish you in your being. And to give you, just open the door on just a little tool that you can begin to use to intend to pull back where those places where you've reached out for some kind of control, or you're protecting yourself in some way, or um, you know, reacting to something that you have no control over. As you do this, you may find that you're able to hold a countenance or a stance or a position of neutrality, and a place where you can, you may find that this may facilitate you in being more of a neutral observer in your ride through life, in your experience of life. And in these times where there's a lot of triggering into polarity, triggering into wanting to be right, and even if you're not the one who is arguing for your rightness, there are probably lots of people who are arguing for their rightness, and they're probably irritating the heck out of you. So I invite you to try this, especially in those times when you're in those places where people are triggered or you're triggered, and you get caught up in the, that energy of trying to reach out and prove your rightness or protect yourself or change something so that you feel better. I invite you to just try this, to try moving back into your backbone, and then see what arises from there. And I'd love to know what you come up with. I know that for me, in the last day or so, as this has come in, I've had some conversations along themes that typically trigger me, that put me where I have to kind of battle with myself to let down my defenses and be open, because it's like they're issues around that are very, very polarizing in these conversations. And I've noticed, I've had a conversation recently with someone where that typically happens. And I've noticed that even though the content of the conversation started the same way, where we were heading toward this polarization and potential conflict, it didn't happen. And I think that part of it is because of this work, of the energy work, the releasing work, the embodying my design work, and then this understanding and this work around intending to pull that ego energy back to a place where it has its own strength. The other thing I noticed is that I was able to kind of voice my opinion in a way where where it was just, this is my opinion. And that was not something that I felt that I could do before. So, guys, try it out. Let me know if it has any kind of effect on you. Work with it for a little while. See what comes up for you. Just as a reminder, a little business here. I do have a class scheduled. I actually moved it from the 15th to the 17th on relationships. And I'll put a link here. You do need to, if you're interested in that, if you've seen that come up and you're interested, you do need to register for it. And I apologize for the short notice, by tomorrow evening. And, you know, otherwise, the registration is closed, and you'll have to get in on the next iteration of it. So I just wanted to leave you with that. Please leave comments about your experience, and have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful, empowered, centered, blissful, grounded week. And there will be more to come. Actually, for those of you who are following How to Love the whatever energy type in your life, we got 2 more projectors and reflectors to go through. So stay tuned for that. They'll be coming out. The projector one will be coming out this week. Reflector may or may not come out this week. So more to come. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming on. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Bings. And have a wonderful, wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week. Let me see if I can get out of here. I've got everything on my laptop. Okay, bye.